After decades of waiting and billions in investment, the successful launch and deployment of the James Webb Space Telescope has enabled scientists around the world to take one step closer towards answering some of the most daunting and intriguing questions in astronomy. This includes but is not limited to things like detecting alien biosignatures in exoplanet atmospheres, determining the composition of the oldest galaxies, and discovering new comets and asteroids in our own solar system. That's right, the James Webb Space Telescope has finally begun making observations and beaming huge amounts of pristine data back down to Earth, with about 40 terabytes of commissioning and early release science data already made available to the public for analysis on Thursday, July 14, 2022. Now, with that brief context out of the way, let's get to the main news of the day. To the pleasant surprise of many space enthusiasts and solar system researchers, NASA has just confirmed that the $10 billion Space Telescope will not only be able to lock onto and follow fast-moving objects like the planet Jupiter, but is in fact powerful enough to detect and characterize water vapor plumes or geysers blasting into space from ice-shelved ocean worlds like Europa and Enceladus. NASA came to this remarkable conclusion after taking a brief look at calibration data gathered from observations of the Jovian system using Webb during its testing phase. Planetary scientists have long hypothesized that Jupiter's moon Europa harbors an immense salty ocean underneath an 18 to 30 kilometers thick icy crust. This is based on multiple lines of strong indirect evidence gathered from the Galileo probe, the Hubble Space Telescope, and ground-based observatories. However, it was not until direct photographic evidence of water plumes blasting from another icy moon orbiting Saturn instead of Jupiter, known as Enceladus, that researchers started to seriously consider that Europa may also possess similar, if not more intermittent, water vapor plumes of its own. A direct quote from NASA read, "I couldn't believe that we saw everything so clearly, and how bright they were," said Stephanie Millam, Webb's deputy project scientist for planetary science based at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. "It's really exciting to think of the capability and opportunity that we have for observing these kinds of objects in our solar system. Scientists were especially eager to see these images because they are proof that Webb can observe the satellites and rings near bright solar system objects such as Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars. Scientists will use Webb to explore the tantalizing question of whether we can see plumes of material spewing out of moons like Europa and Saturn's moon Enceladus. Webb may be able to see the signatures of plumes depositing material on the surface on Europa. I think that's just one of the coolest things that we'll be able to do with this telescope in the solar system," Millam said. NASA also followed up that with a tweet that read, "At NASA, Webb can gaze into the universe's depths, but what can it do nearby? These test images of Jupiter and some of its moons show that Webb can observe faint objects near bright ones, so it may be able to see vapor plumes spewing from ocean worlds." This was met by a reply from a Twitter user who joked that Webb might beat the Europa Clipper mission, set for launch in 2024, at getting some images and visual confirmation of Europa's vapor plumes if they are indeed present. To get down to the bottom of this, a team of scientists have already submitted a research proposal aiming to study and probe the subsurface oceans of Europa and Enceladus with the James Webb Space Telescope. The direct quote from the approved research proposal reads as follows: "Do the icy moons, Europa and Enceladus, host habitable conditions at submerged hydrothermal vents? We propose to perform high spatial and spectral resolution observations of the jets emanating from these moons, measuring volatile abundances and isotopic ratios. Such measurements will reveal unprecedented information regarding the processes acting beneath the moon's thick ice crusts, and the potential for habitability of the subsurface oceans." And with that, we'd like to close out things. Thank you for checking out the video. Hit the like button, it's free of charge, and if you want to stay in the loop and be the first to get insights, updates and breakdowns of James Webb related research or data, then do yourself a favor and subscribe, because next week we will be breaking down the full research proposals for studying Europa, Enceladus and the Jovian system with the James Webb Space Telescope, so stay tuned.